So I'm having a conversation with a brother, right, about how Black people getting married will not solve the community's problems, right? Now, I'm gonna just make this video and I'm gonna sit it here for him so hopefully he sees it. So first off, I'm gonna say I need folks to not get sensitive and just sit and watch the video, okay? So the reason why marriage is not the end all be all is because of the way that the system systemically oppresses black men. And then the way that the system systemically oppresses black men, it oppresses black women through that too, right? So black women are oppressed through the way that the system systemically oppresses black men, right? So the issue is actually back to what I keep saying, systemic poverty and economic alienation of black men. Okay, let me show you how to research. Back here through Brookings Institute, okay, the inheritance of black poverty, it's all about the men. Again, don't get sensitive, chill out and walk with me for tested simulating marriage, right? And what they found is that simulating marriage does little to improve mobility for Black women, right? This is economic. It says Black women face a very high risk of being stuck in poverty. If you go down here to the bottom, it says this result is probably driven by the fact that Black women tend to create families with Black men who do poorly on both counts and thus bring down the family income results for Black women, right? So what they're saying doing poorly on both counts is individual earnings distribution for each gender and family income distribution for the whole age cohort. Okay, so it says whites do well on both counts, Black men do poorly on both counts. Black women do reasonably well on the first, which is the individual earnings, but then do poorly on the second, which is the family income distribution because of their pairing with Black men. But that's not Black men's. Here's a graph showing it to you, and I'm going to explain why this is important. I'm going to explain where I'm going with it. And then that's them showing it together. Black men and women have low family income mobility. And as you can see, Black women even surpass Black men in this graph. And the reason why is because Black women end up taking on the financial responsibility of herself, kids, and a man. Okay. Now, this again is not Black men's fault per se. The study even ends with saying this. Our results strongly echo those of the Chetty team. So, what conclusions can be drawn? Okay. Chetty's team are blunt, writing that the key to closing income disparities for both Black and white women is to close intergenerational gaps in income between Black and white men. This is certainly one of the most important implications of both their study and our own. Breaking the cycle of intergenerational poverty for Black Americans requires a transformation in the economic outcomes for Black men, particularly in terms of earning. One important point here, the relationship between earnings and marriage runs in both directions. Married men tend other things, married men tend other things equal to earn more. One study of identical twins suggests that being married raises earnings by one fourth. Married men may feel more responsibility to provide economically for their families and especially their children. Low marriage rates may therefore have some impact on earnings. It is also clear that the vast inequalities by race cannot be alleviated by upward mobility alone. Black girls are, relatively speaking, more likely to move out of poverty in terms of their own earnings. However, we should keep in mind the sheer number of Black children being raised in low income households in the first place. Closing the race gaps in upward mobility will require wholesale shifts in economic outcomes, perhaps above all for men's earnings. Why is this important? Okay. The reason why this is important is because poverty harms marriages. Poverty harms relationships. It is very difficult for relationships to successfully thrive in a climate that is hindering and oppressing them. Okay. And eventually the bow will break, if you will, right? Eventually things will come crashing down to a place of disintegration because of those feelings of economic pressure, because of the stress that causes, the mental health issues that that causes, and even just the relationship issues of her feeling like the man is inadequate, or him feeling like she's inadequate, or that she is fussing at him and she is, riding him hard in regards to him not providing in the way that she feels that he should provide, or even his own feelings of inadequacy in dealing with this system. Okay, so this system is going to affect the man in one way, and it's going to affect the woman in one way, and the way that it is affecting both of them will cross over and affect cause them to negatively impact each other. Okay, so getting married in itself, yes, that's wonderful. I love marriage. Okay, but getting married in itself is not going to be the thing that is going to solve all of the problems if people don't understand how systemic oppression is affecting various different things that they may experience within their relationship and within their marriage. Okay, because what will happen is they're going to internalize it and they're going to begin to blame each other or blame themselves. Okay. Now, marriage does improve economic outcomes for Black men, but if Black men are still facing last man hired, first man fired, are still facing being alienated from the job market or getting into more entrepreneurial endeavors and entering into more hot industries and booming industries, then that's still going to cause issues within the family unit. Okay, within the family unit. Right. So there's more that needs to be talked about in regards to just getting married. There's more to it than that. And I think that when we focus on those issues and talking about those issues, that's when we can say, okay, marriage is something that can be beneficial towards the Black American community, right? Because marriage can be beneficial. But you do have to understand all of these other factors and that it is not going to be the end all be all if we don't solve the problem of systemic oppression that causes systemic poverty, that causes economic alienation, that causes mental health issues and distress. Okay?